So last night, Monday Night Raw was, I guess you could say, a mixed bag. It all depends on whether or not you were attending it live in Hershey, Pennsylvania, or you were watching it on television. It was kind of a mixed bag. Some liked it, some felt it was good, decent, went by fast. Others were in between. Some, felt that there was good in it, and some felt that it was bad. And then, of course, there were those that basically crapped on it because they felt it was a very Vince McMahon inspired, Vince McMahon influenced, or Vince McMahon written Monday Night Raw. And look, everybody has an opinion on how they felt about it, and that's okay. But the one thing people are always once again asking to people like Alyx and JD is, why do you blame Vince? Why is Vince the first person? And as I said last night, on Twitter, to paraphrase what I said, basically they blame him because of all the years of his booking. And that the reason they are doing this is because they're trying to get the attention of Ari Emanuel, the guy that's going to be Vince's boss, with the hopes that the #FireVince, hashtag that's going on in social media will get Ari's attention and make Ari realize that, yeah, this guy's bad news, don't work with him. As soon as the merger happens, get rid of him. That's what they're hoping for. And if they get what they want, that's great. Or if Ari realizes, yeah, Vince, I can't have you working, near creative anymore in WWE, so I'm going to have you do other stuff, as part of this partnership, then fine, so be it. If that's one way to keep him away, I'm sure they'll be satisfied with that. But it's because of everything he has done, booking-wise and everything throughout the years, and even the bad business decisions he's made, throughout the years, as well as what he's done, recently that's, well, not recently, but the stuff he's done that's come out in the past, 6-7 months, he's going to be an easy target to go after, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. But, people, again, they ask, well, why are you so obsessed with it? And again, it's everything that I've mentioned, and also the fact that even if they know, okay, Vince is not really the one responsible, the more blame they put on him, even if Vince is not the one, calling the shots or even involved, the more blame they put on him, even if it's not his fault, the more it builds up the hope that he'll be taken out once and for all. He will be removed. He will be fired, by Ari Emanuel once the merger is complete. That is what they're hoping for. That is why even if Vince is not involved whatsoever, they will put the blame on him for anything bad. They will. And look, everybody has a right to feel the way they do about certain folks. People don't like Ezra Miller, because of what I'm not going to say they, because he's a he, let's be honest, he has done. The Christine lady on John Campia's show, she has done her very best in the past several months to basically, ignore the Flash. She goes on there, and basically pretends like, what Flash movie? I don't know what Flash movie you're talking about. Who's starring in it? I don't know. Because she doesn't like the guy. And that's her own way of acknowledging, yeah, I despise you. I despise you for what you've done and what you stand for. And that's fine. That's fine. That's her opinion. That's her right. Even though she shouldn't act like the Flash movie, is not real, or act like, hey, the guy that's one of the most controversial figures in Hollywood right now is not the lead star, even though she shouldn't act like that, and she should acknowledge it, at least give her opinions on it, her doing what she did is basically, in her opinion, in her point of view, and others feeling the same way, her doing what she did, her doing what she's constantly doing, helps, in her point of view and others' point of view or others that share the same point of view, it's their way of basically saying, yeah, the more we do this, the more hopefully it'll get the studios and Hollywood overall attention, and the Screen Actors Guild attention, whatever, to get rid of this guy. Get rid of this guy, put him in jail, make him serve life, if not 20 years in prison for what he's done. That's why she does that's why she does what she does. You know, so even though it may not make sense in the eyes of some, like, hey, you know, he's pretty much trying to take responsibility and now get help and all that, you know, she's not going to stop acting the way she does towards him or any projects he may or may not be involved in until he serves justice, until he is basically put behind bars and pays the price for what he's done. And that's it. That's it. You know, and again, how this correlates and relates to, you know, Vince always taking the blame, even if he's not there, is because of what he's done in the past. And mostly the more he gets the blame, even if he's not involved whatsoever, the more it helps build their cause and, you know, to get the attention of Ari Emanuel to fire Vince once and for all from the company. You know, that's the goal. But here's what's interesting too. You have those that, you know, come out and say, why are you so critical? Why are you so obsessed? Those people are on bated breath. They are waiting on bated breath, if you will. They are waiting on bated breath for that moment. They are hoping. They're not going to come out and tell you, but they are hoping for that moment to become a reality, so that whether or not Vince is, you know, fired and let go and forced to retire and everything because of what he's done and all that, or if Ari Emanuel feels like, hey, I'll just keep him busy, you know, so much that he won't have time to do, you know, creative or touch creative, you know. They are waiting on a moment, you know, either way, you know, on bated breath. They are waiting on bated breath for one of those moments, a moment period, to where Triple H will have the sole control, creatively and bookingly, to where if we get a bad Raw, a bad Smackdown, a bad PLE, they are waiting for that moment to where, you know, sites like Fightful Select will come out and say, no, Vince was not involved in anything, it was all Triple H. They are waiting for that moment to point the finger at JD. They are waiting for that moment to point the finger at just Alyx and Solomonster and others and say, ha, see, you see, your boy Triple H couldn't book something perfectly. See, you are blaming Vince for nothing. You're obsessed. You're paranoid. They're waiting for that moment. They're waiting for that moment. And you know why? So that way, not only can they point the finger and say, ha, see, you were nothing but obsessed and paranoid, but also say, ha, you are everything, you represent everything people say about the wrestling community. You are toxic. You are a mark. You basically take the joy out of enjoying a product that's for everybody. You know, that's what they're waiting for. They're waiting on bated breath to do something like that towards them. You know, towards them. So that's why, in a way, even though they're wondering, why do you always constantly put the blame on Vince? Why can't you accept maybe your boy Triple H can't book a perfect show all the time? They want people like Alyx and JD to get what they want, so that way, when the moment comes to where there's no more excuses, you know, and we get a bad Raw, we get a bad Smackdown, and Triple H is the one that's solely in charge and no one else, you know, waiting for that moment to basically say, ha, see? You were obsessed. You let your obsession and your fear, your paranoia get the best of you. And you are proving, once again, that you're everything that the wrestling community, you know, despises. You are toxic. You are marks and everything. They're waiting for that moment. So that way, in their minds, they could be like, you know, hopefully, when that day comes, Alyx and JD will come on screen and say like, okay guys, you were right, we were obsessed, we shouldn't have always blamed Vince and everything, we apologize and we will try to be better. That's what they're hoping for. They're hoping for that day to come, and guess what? I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to be absolutely real with you. That day's coming a lot sooner than you think. It is. It is coming a lot sooner than you think. It's just a matter of when and where. And when it does, I hope JD, I hope Solomonster, I hope Alyx, I hope everybody, you know, that does this for a living on YouTube and podcasting, I hope they're prepared. I hope they're ready for that moment, because it's going to happen. Whether they want to admit it or not, it's going to happen. And they know it. They know it's going to happen. They know it. They could see it. They could feel it. But they also know that that even though that day is coming, and everything, they also know that the moment they want is going to come as well. And that's Vince McMahon being let go. They know that day's coming too. They know it. That day's coming probably a lot sooner than the other day I mentioned. But they also know that when that day comes, then the day I mentioned beforehand is going to follow, and that's going to be a day that, they're going to have to deal with, because it's going to be the price they're going to have to pay. It's going to be the price they're going to have to pay for basically letting the obsession, the fear, the paranoia of Vince always running things and being in control, and even if he's not, that's going to be a day to where, reality is going to smack them in the face, and they're going to realize, okay, maybe we shouldn't have let our fear and our paranoia get the best of us, and maybe what we should have said is, hey, Raw wasn't bad, it felt like Vince was in charge, but maybe it wasn't, it just felt like it. Or, hey, Raw wasn't that good this week, but maybe it'll get better next week. That to me is going to happen. I don't know when, where, but it will. But again, anybody that's wondering why Vince is always the first to be blamed, even if he's not involved, it's because of everything he's done in the past, everything he's done inappropriately, which he should be, basically spending at least, I would say, a year or two in jail for, or have some kind of community, service done, whatever kind of punishment. I do agree he needs that. But again, it's because of what he's done in the past, booking-wise, creatively, and other business decision-wise, why he's always going to be the first to be blamed, even if he's not involved. And the reason he's always going to be the first to blame, even if he's not involved, is to basically accomplish that one goal of getting Ari Emanuel of Endeavor to fire Vince once the merger happens. And that's a fact. That's a fact. But, yeah, if you're wondering why Vince is always constantly blamed, even if he's not involved, it's because they are trying to get the attention of Ari Emanuel to get rid of Vince once and for all when the merger happens. That's why. But they also know, whether they want to admit it or not, they also know that a price is going to be paid with that. And that price is the reality. The reality, ladies and gentlemen, that they're eventually going to get a bad Raw and Smackdown, and they're not going to have a Vince to blame anymore. And that price, and in turn, they're going to be paying a price that basically states, yeah, maybe we are everything people said we are. Maybe we were obsessed. Maybe we were paranoid. Maybe we are freaking marks that don't know that much about the business. And, that's about it. That's what's going to happen. And they know it. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of when and where. But I guarantee you one thing. I don't know why I'm getting this feeling, but I got a feeling one of those things is going to occur before this year is out. Mark my words. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Do you believe that they have the right to blame Vince, and even if he's not involved, just to accomplish a goal? Or do you think maybe they are just letting the obsession, the fear, and the paranoia get the best of them? Let me know down below in the comments, as well as in the live chat during the premiere. Like the video. And until next time, guys, I am out.